It's time for Remodel Revolution. And now, an award-winning contractor with over 40 years' experience. Here is Alex Guthrie.
Welcome to another episode of Remodel Revolution. We're coming to you live from the Remodel Revolution World Headquarters deep in the heart of Texas. We're so glad to be here. I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Matt Mitchell. He is co-hosting with us today, and Matt just had a lot on his mind. He called me and said, Alex, I've just got to talk about it.
There's a lot on my heart. Needs to be shared at this time.
I've got to get it out, man.
If anyone I can go vomit to, it would be you.
I'm your host, Alex Guthrie. Thanks for joining the show. I hope you're having a great day. It's the day before Thanksgiving in the year 2019.
It's about to be 2020.
Oh, my gosh.
2020 is around the horn.
Oh, my gosh. I want to tell you something. Today's show, we thought we have a few things to talk about. We're going to talk about, one thing is safely deep frying your turkey because so many people they cook themselves and their turkey. It's never a good thing. So we're also going to talk about, do you want to really remodel during the holidays? This has come up with me lately. We'll call that our remodeler's tip. Do you really want to remodel during the holidays? And then we've got 20 tips on planning your remodel. So let's start out with, why not remodel during the holidays, Matt Mitchell?
It sounds like such a good time. Obviously, everyone's home. They can help out.
They're in a great mood.
Answer questions.
Well, there's a few reasons that I put down here. I have a few ideas, and these are just from rough experiences that I've had over the years when we're actually remodeling during the holidays, whether we wanted to or not. Crews are off for the holidays and won't respond. And many of them are out of the country and can't respond. Now, you're thinking, what could possibly go wrong? What could go wrong?
Right. It's a simple timeline. We show up to work every day. You mean the crews don't show up to work every day?
Let's talk about a few things that can go wrong if you decide you have to remodel during the holidays. Okay, so I put a few things together. And I'll tell you, I was doing a house one time, and the client called me on Christmas Eve and said, the toilet's backing up. And I went, well, I'll call Santa. I don't know. What do you want me to do?
Turn the water off.
Yeah, right. Turn the water off to it, man. How do you do that? So the plumber showed up, and they claimed put a rag, one of my people had put a rag down the toilet. Now, I can assure you of this. I had to explain to this lady, my people do not clean toilets. So there's no reason for them to put a rag. So at any rate, we all lived through it, but it was one of those things that can happen. Mm-hmm. There's lots of things what happens every now and then during Thanksgiving that we don't count on? Ice storms, weather things that happen. The power goes out.
Oh.
Some workman leaves something undone or doesn't do something that he should have done before he left, and you're called, and you don't figure it out till midnight, and you're calling me going, Alex or Matt. Well, of course, can you believe what that guy did?
These things have never happened to me. No. I'm so glad I'm here to learn from you.
That's right. Well, let me tell you, I've got some good experiences here along these lines.
Get over here yesterday. It's a nightmare.
Well, things that normally can be handled in the normal course of a day become a major crisis over the holidays, because you can't always reach people. You can't always find them. They won't respond to you. You know, they're with their family. They're with their family too. They don't care.
No.
And so unless it's something really critical, you're calling, if it's something really critical, you're calling the fire department or somebody. It happens. So you'll call an emergency. So let's talk about preparing for the holidays if you're in the middle of a remodel. I've got some notes here. Matt, I'm sure we'll have some more. And my first advice to you is start preparing about a week or two before the holiday. So it's too late this year for Thanksgiving, but Christmas is coming up quick. And so right now, start preparing. Your contractor needs to talk to you about a schedule. You need to talk about who's going to be available. Set a firm schedule with your contractor when work stops and when it will restart.
And be realistic in this. If your contractor is, just, it's not a problem, and it's not a problem, and it's a big job that's going on at your house, he may be living in a fantasy world himself sometimes. And his subcontractors may not start showing up, and he has little control over that sometimes.
Well, he's going skiing too.
That's right.
He's on his way to Colorado.
He's going to turn his phone off. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how many times you call.
That's right. That's right. So, here's the reality of it. A lot of our workforce here in this part of the country goes back home to Mexico during the holidays. I actually have a cabinet guy right now. We've scheduled everything around him going back to El Salvador for 3 weeks. And so he told me 3 weeks, and I said, no, really, how long are you going back for? Well, it ends up it's a month.
Yes.
And so, and that's just if he decides not to stay another month. And so I'm like, finish it now. Get to it now. I don't have to wait on you. Well, you can call my office and so. And oh no, we're not doing that. And so you have to, with our workforce these days, you really have to plan carefully and plan what you're going to start. The problem is you'll be in the middle of something, and then the person that is supposed to show up and finish it isn't going to show up and finish it when you want them to. And nothing really happens till after New Year's. Don't think there's some little magic between Christmas and the first of the year that's going to make things. Oh, they'll show. No, well, some of them might show up. There's some of them that are going to be here, but it's probably not the right guy.
Alex, I have a question. Does yelling help?
No, praying. I think praying is the optimal way to make that work best. But planning and communication is the first thing. And being realistic, like Matt said, being realistic about who's going to be there and what they can accomplish. So don't think that you can call them and scream at them and get them there. Get a list. Who do you call for an emergency? Is there a superintendent that's going to be available? Is there another contractor? Doctors will have another doctor on call.
Sure.
I have a friend of mine, a contractor, who's very rich. He's made a lot more money than I have.
Nonsense.
It's easy to do. And so
I find that difficult to believe.
I know, it's hard to believe. You would think. He calls me and says, I'm going to Europe for a month. Will you watch my project? And I go, it must be nice having poor friends.
Will you watch my project?
Will you watch
a month?
For a month.
He wants you to finish it.
Yeah, and I did, actually. And I became good friends with the homeowner. I said, next time you need a good contractor, call me. And I hope you keep referring me to your neighbors. So talk to your contractor about, who's in charge while you're gone to Vail. or Spain or wherever you're going on this trip.
It all amounts to the same. They're not going to be there.
Know how to turn your utilities. Now, I talk about this all the time. Knowing how to turn your utilities on and off. I can't believe how many people I know that do not even know how to turn the water off to their house. Now, I will say this. I'm doing a project right now, and I could not figure out, even my highly paid plumber could not figure out how to turn the water off to the house. We couldn't do it. It wouldn't turn off. It didn't matter what we did. Well, of course, it ended up that there was an extra meter in the yard that was buried under dirt that we didn't know about. But
details.
This fantastic builder, who you and I both know, that built a house that's brand new that I'm now remodeling, did put a water cutoff inside the house like a smart builder would do. And so we were able to turn it off. But here's my point. Always figure out, ask your builder, and figure it out on your own if you have to, how to turn off the gas, how to turn off the water, how to turn the power off. Who do I call if my alarm goes off in the middle of the night for some reason or another? You know, things like that are important. And you'd be surprised how many people do not have a clue how to do that.
It would not surprise me at all.
Yeah. And so houses are very technical now.
They're getting incredibly technical.
And they're getting more technical.
Yeah.
And so you've got to be engaged here, folks. Particularly if you have a new house. I know you don't want to be. I mean, who wants to be? But you need to be. You need to be. It's we used to have to know how to change the spark plugs in our cars.
That's right.
If you're doing work during the holidays, set a schedule that has the kids and the pets in mind. Because all of a sudden, now I'm at a house that we're kind of getting things set up to start a remodel on. And the kids are all home from school, and they're laying around on the couch playing video games in the media room. And so I have to make sure that I don't disturb that little piece of heaven for the parents. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's kind of like you can't go in there and tell them they can't play video games or something bad's going to happen.
Right.
Meltdowns, conniption fits, whatever.
Maybe the homeowners need to go to Europe for a month and just throw you the keys.
I've got one of them right now, and I'm so thankful.
So nice.
They're great. They're great people. I really like them, especially when they're on the other side of the planet. I mean, I don't mean this personally about these particular people, but I like everybody I work for that's on the other side of the planet.
Yeah. Well, the entire stress level of the project comes way, way down.
Yeah.
To live in the middle of construction is just a nightmare. You know, part of our job is to mitigate the stress, but we can't eliminate all of it.
No.
And, you know, sheetrock has to be sanded, and
it's
messy,
It's
and there's paint
messy.
and fumes, and it just
Yeah.
makes you sick and cough and everything else, and the stress just keeps going up and boiling over.
Especially during the holidays.
During the holidays.
Especially during the holidays. Okay. That was a good segment.
I love that. That was my favorite segment we did all day. I'm going to put a check mark by it.
How to safely deep fry a turkey.
I love this.
Now, I don't have to do tons of research on this because I do this segment every year and have for 15 years or so because
Nice. Look at that.
because
picture.
every year deep fryer fires are responsible for 5 deaths, 60 injuries, and 900 home fires in this country. Can you believe that?
They need remodelers during the holidays after that.
And more than $15 million in property damage, according to the National Fire Protection Association. And not only that, but once again, Texas leads the way.
We're number one. We're number one.
We like our fried turkeys. We like our fried everything.
Yeah, they are
And
great.
so,
Have you had fried turkey?
I have had fried turkey.
It's tasty.
I have. Now, Ziggy, tell us about your turkey frying
So
experience.
they make a essentially a convection fryer. It's an oilless deep fryer for your turkey that cooks it as if it was fried, and it crisps the skin and everything, and it's delicious. And it's just a propane tank hooked up to what looks like a deep fryer vat, and it just cooks it like a convection oven, but cooks it as if it was fried.
Man, I tell you
great.
what, healthy turkey.
Man, I don't know that we can get behind something like that. We need lots of oil.
We need
danger.
grease. If there's not something
fire.
dripping off of it, I'm not sure I trust it.
That's right.
Oh yeah, no, it catches the drippings for sure.
You still get the drippings.
Sounds like some sort of a newfangled California thing to me.
Well, here's some turkey frying safety tips. First of all, never leave the fryer unattended. And I'm assuming they're talking about the deep fryer, not the person doing the frying. Because a lot of times this involves libations, so don't leave either fryer unattended, right?
Right.
Keep children and pets away from the fryer at all times. It's terrible. Sometimes you mistake the poodle for the turkey. It's
Oh, the humanity.
tastes terrible. Tastes terrible. Wear protective equipment, eye protection, and good grill mitts. No kidding. No kidding. Defrost your turkey completely and dry it before immersing it in hot oil. Now that's what starts. That's what starts these fires.
That water hits the oil. Oh, it just turns into a nightmare.
So what happens is people will actually dip the cold, damp turkey in the oil too fast. They'll just drop it down in there, and that's when you have this big explosion of burning, flaming grease. So what you have to do is actually put that turkey in slowly and let it everything stay in control when you're putting it down. So don't get crazy putting the turkey down there, and that is usually like a Budweiser mistake. Just couldn't hold it any longer.
Can you use Budweiser to disinfect the wound?
Yeah, right. Pour the Budweiser on your burns.
That's right.
Keep a grease-rated fire extinguisher within arm's reach of your work area. Now, if you've ever tried to put a grease fire out with water, you'll understand this and really appreciate it because burning oil floats. It's really not a good idea. Never operate a fryer outdoors in the rain or snow.
That was a terrific idea.
Have you ever had water hit hot grease?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like an explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about the snow part here
Right.
in Texas.
I was watching a news. I was telling you earlier. I was watching a news segment earlier today, and it was just something for a big charity. Won't mention the name. And they were frying about 20 turkeys. So they had 20 different fryers in this parking lot. Now it's on a concrete parking lot, and that's a great idea. If you're setting up your fryer, don't ever set it up on top of wood or anything flammable. Not out in the leafy yard with grass.
in the bedroom or the living room. nothing like
Get
that.
it out of the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah,
But in the driveway is a great place as long as it's concrete or something like that. But they had all these fryers, compressed into this little 30 by 30 foot area. So you'd be somebody was in the middle of all these fryers with their fryer, and literally there's 4 other fryers within about 5 feet. And it was obvious about 25% of them had no idea what they were doing.
It looked like the Aggie bonfire.
That's right. And they're dropping in turkeys, and the oil is just bubbling. I mean, just way bubbling.
I love it.
Splashing everywhere.
I love
And
it.
the
I
other
love it.
Fry cooks are diving out of the way, trying to keep out of the hot oil. And I was watching this thing. I'm going to watch someone just be engulfed in flames before my eyes. It's incredible.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more fried frying turkey safety tips don't go away. The hardest working and arguably most important system in our homes is our air conditioning and heating system. It heats the air, it cools the air, and it filters the air. That's why it's so critical to have it checked and maintained by the very best professionals available. It's time to contact Total Air and Heat at totalair.com. Get that system pruned and tuned. If you want to have the very best experience, you've got to hire the very best company. Total Air's employees are honest, well-trained, and thoroughly background checked. I never have to worry about sending their technicians out to my clients' homes. Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Total Air and Heat has been a fixture in North Dallas for over 60 years. Total Air is a proud dealer of the Trane air conditioning systems, and you know how hard it is to stop a Trane, so give them a call at 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020, or contact them at totalair.com today. Sometimes people decide to deep fry turkeys and it all goes wrong. Let's see that picture, Ziggy. Let's get that picture. Oh, ouch. Ooh, man.
If you see that happening,
now look at all the things that are wrong here.
look at all the combustible items around that.
Everything is bad. I mean, deck, wood fence. Really?
But wood's not flammable, is it?
No. Wood is never flammable unless there's fire on it.
Right. And if you're wondering about a synthetic decking, that's flammable too.
And it melts.
Very, very flammable.
It's made out of oil. Leave 2. So we've been going through our list. So leave 2 feet between the tank and the burner when using a propane powered fryer. Consider wrapping the hose in aluminum foil to prevent hot oil that may splatter from touching it. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I guess while you're wrapping the turkey legs in foil, no, you don't do that when you do these. No, okay, all right. Well, see, that's the thing. When you cook a turkey, something has to be wrapped in foil. So if you're going to deep fry it, wrap the hose in foil.
There you go.
Something has
Use
to
the
be
foil
wrapped.
somewhere.
Something has to be. And so it says, our next one is do not overfill the fryer. And that's what you wanted to talk about.
That's right. People always wonder, how much oil do you use? And they'll run out and grab a big 2-gallon, 5-gallon jug of oil, and they'll fill their fryer up, and they'll heat all this oil up and try and dump the turkey in. And now oil starts spilling over the sides, going everywhere, and it's a nightmare. The way you do it is this. It's very simple. That adds an extra step. Take the turkey, and before you put any oil in the pot, you'll have an empty pot. You're going to fill the fill the tank with water. Don't fill it all the way up. Put the turkey in, and then continue to add water until the turkey is totally submerged, and then stop adding water. Pull the turkey out, and then put a mark on the inside of the pot, and that'll tell you exactly how much oil you need.
That is so brilliant.
And you won't have it boil over.
So I
and
guess
it's
you
safe.
pour the water out because you
Then
don't
you'll
want to
pour
boil
water
the
out.
turkey.
You'll dry it out
Don't
before
forget.
you put the oil in.
Do not forget to pour the water out.
And because different turkeys are different sizes, so different amounts of oil are needed. So that's the safest and easiest way. I won't say foolproof because nothing is foolproof.
Not when fools are doing it.
That's right. Murphy's 7th law, nothing is foolproof because fools are so ingenious.
That's right. Turn off the burner if the oil is smoking. Yeah,
Yes.
it's a dead giveaway.
What you call a smoke point, and it's about to be dangerous.
It's about to be a flashpoint. Turn off the. Now this is great. Turn off the burner before lowering the turkey into the oil, and then turn the burner back on once it's in there. That takes care of Matt's biggest concern, which is fire.
Unless you're cooking the turkey.
Unless I'm cooking the turkey, then the whole neighborhood
Then it's a
gets
big giggle.
nervous. Yeah, then it's a big deal. Once finished, Carefully remove the pot from the burner and let the oil cool overnight. Do not go dump it down the gutter. Don't dump it in the backyard. Don't do something silly like that. Let it cool. Right? You can't use it. You can't reuse it, can you?
You shouldn't.
You could maybe next year,
Yeah.
but I'd smell it first because rigor mortis smells awful after about
Where
a
do
year
you
in
take
the oil.
used oil? I can't remember. I know a lot of auto parts will take used motor oil.
Well, just tell them it came out of your car.
Yeah,
They'll
be
never
fine.
know. They won't. They'll just go, "Why is there a feather in it?"
Put it in Willie Nelson's tour bus. It runs on vegetable oil.
Enough of this silliness. Now let's get serial. 20 tips for planning a remodel. And I know this is something near and dear to your heart, and I had to do just tons of research because I don't know these things. But before we do that, we're going to take another quick break so we get caught up on our sponsors who we love, and we hope that you listen when you're watching our show and listening to the podcast. Our sponsors are what keep us going. We really appreciate it if you contact our sponsors. Let them know you heard about them from our show, and who knows, maybe you'll get a little gift card. I'm bribing them every way I can for you. So call our sponsors. Use them for these projects that you need done. They're fantastic people. That's why we have them. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Sometimes it's a question of do I call or don't I call the Foundation Repair Company? Well, what if I tell you that I know a foundation repair company that will tell you if you don't need foundation repair? That's right. Hargrave & Hargrave Foundation Repair has been in business for over 50 years, and they know the difference. One of the last family-owned foundation repair businesses in North Texas. Not only are they honest, they know what causes your foundation to move, and they know how to fix it. Don't be duped by fly-by-night foundation companies that provide shortcuts and messy fixes. Call Hargrave & Hargrave Foundation Repair at 972-442-3415. At the first sign of trouble, Hargrave uses the Chance helical pier system exclusively because it's the highest quality, most reliable helical pier money can buy. 972-442-3415 or contact them at hargravefoundation.com. One of the most challenging parts of taking on a new remodel is the planning stage. And I have a list of 20 items. I found them, and actually are the things that I talk to you about a lot. I've now been confirmed as being a genius because these are actually published by somebody other than me. And so now I know how smart I am. And I thought we needed to go over this, and particularly since I have Matt Mitchell with me. Matt knows a lot of things, but he may not know all 20 of these.
Probably don't.
So if you're planning a remodel, there's a way to make it easier on yourself if you plan carefully. And here's a few things. Now, this is kind of like writing a book, right? You always plan the ending first. That's why the book that I've been working on for 3 years, I haven't ever finished.
It's 7,000 pages.
It's 7,000 pages, and I can't figure out the ending. So when planning a house remodel, you go into it thinking, I'm going to remodel this room, whatever the room is. And if you go into it with just sort of this open-ended thing, then the project will continue to be open-ended from day one. So you need to go in with a end in, what is it I want to accomplish? Why am I doing this? And I will ask you, Matt will ask you, when you call us about this, what are you trying to accomplish? Why are you doing this to yourself?
My first meeting with potential remodel clients, I always jokingly tell them, this is the meeting where I try and talk you out of this.
Talk sense into you. Well, I mean, You have to take sort of as the contractor, the person that's the point person, the person that the homeowner is going to call. You have to really hit them hard right up front and shake them a little bit and make sure that they understand what they're getting into. Because when you start this whole planning process, you get really excited.
Yeah.
So you start looking at, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to end up. And you get real excited. And I get in there and I get excited with you, you know. I mean, I want this to be successful and fun and everything. Even though I know the reality of the process, it doesn't mean that we can't have a good relationship going in and a good positive attitude towards a project, which you better have. If you don't, then it's really going to be miserable for you.
So you have to set realistic expectations up front.
Absolutely.
And continue to reinforce those
as you go through. Yeah. And, you know, I have people, they'll say, oh, you just see everything through rose-colored glasses. You know, you're trying to keep us from getting upset. Well, yeah, I am trying to keep you from getting upset because I don't need that. Thank you very much, but I don't need that. But I also understand that nothing that we do is curing the ills of the world. I mean, what we're doing is a wonderful thing for somebody. I know that there's an end to it when we start. There is an end to it. I also know that the worst thing that's going to happen to you is dirt and mud, dirt and water.
Right.
That's kind of it.
Yes.
That's, I mean, if all things, we were really careful about the really dangerous stuff, so we deal with that. But at the end of the day, the biggest complaints I have are it was really dusty and dirty. It took longer than I thought it was going to take, cost more than I thought it was going to cost, and a guy stepped through the ceiling.
And he's still there.
Yeah. Why is his foot still sticking in my laundry room ceiling?
Well, I went up there and I killed him.
Yeah, he died. That's because he died. And so, you know, when you do this every day, it's kind of like when you're talking to your doctor and he just is kind of really relaxed when he tells you he has to remove your right finger. And you're like, why are you so relaxed? Well, I do it every day.
That's right.
Why would I be relaxed when it's not my finger?
I'm going to write that down. I like that. I'm going to use that.
You like that one? Use that one, you know. Have a budget. This is the hardest part of the whole process. Have a budget. And there's not to say that budgets don't change in a remodel. They have to be a little bit fluid. Nothing ends up the way you started out, budget-wise or scope-wise, ever.
Correct. And that goes hand in hand with the first item of have the end in mind. You have to be able to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm not going beyond this. One of the devils of home remodel is everything touches everything. So if you're redoing hardwood floors, are you going to redo them in just one area, or are you going to go throughout the entire house? Okay, now when you're redoing the hardwood floors, that touches baseboards. And now if you're going to touch the baseboards, are you going to touch the walls? Are you going to, where do you stop? Where do you draw the line in the sand on these things? And sometimes it's really easy. There's a very clear line to do that. And sometimes it isn't.
Well, and then there's a reality check of when you do stop the line. Let's say you do the hardwood floors in just the room you're working in. That's fine. But I can't make them look exactly like the hardwood floors that were done 30 years ago in the next room.
Can't be done.
And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you I can match everything. So if you can live with that, fine. But there's sort of a reality check that happens during that process. One of the biggest ones you and I deal with in a remodel is when we paint something. So that we'll paint a wall. Well, the wall next to it looks
That's right.
looks terrible. The trim looks terrible. And now those cabinets don't look so good because the walls around them are painted. We didn't paint the cabinets, and we hadn't planned on all that. But that's just sort of where you have to say yay or no.
Right.
You know, yes or no. I'm willing to spend the money. It's called project creep, and it happens on every single one of them. Consult the calendar. When you're doing certain types of work, there may be, and depending on the part of the country you live in, there may be a time of year you just don't want to do it. There may be a time of year when you say, this isn't a good time of year to rip the roof off my house. It snows here.
Right.
Or in the case down here, it rains.
Yes.
Now, we can't predict all that. We do the best we can. Now, I always just tell them, just clear all your stuff out of there, because I have a great story. I had a lady, and we waited till, she insisted we wait till August to do some work on her roof. I can't remember exactly what it was. This is a long time ago. And so, because she was in her summer home in Santa Fe. That's what it was. She was in her summer home in Santa Fe, and she wanted to be gone. She's going to be there in August. She said, then Alex, go do the roof. And so I'm sitting in my truck in her driveway, talking to her on the phone. She's in her house in Santa Fe. And she goes, what is that? I'm giving her, a report on the project. Yeah, we're up on the roof. We got the roof. And then she goes, what is that noise? I go, that's thunder. That's a clap of lightning coming down, and because we waited till August because we're hoping it wouldn't rain.
Right.
Like it's not supposed to, right? That it's a classic example of what happens.
I can't tell you how many countries I've been to, how many places I've been to that have the same saying that we have here in Texas, in that if you don't like the weather, wait a minute.
Wait 10 minutes.
Things happen.
Yeah, right. So you can't predict everything, but you can, like on the big picture stuff, you can look at trends. Like it snows, maybe we don't want to, do the roof. So consult your calendar, and also things like vacations. I have a lot of clients that'll say, we're going to take a 2-week vacation during maybe spring break. And I like that. I can plan. A lot of times I'll plan a certain part of that work, and you do too, around them not being there.
Yes.
The really nasty stuff where
Right.
you're just like, great, because you're not going to have any power for those 2 weeks.
Right.
So don't cancel the vacation.
Right. Are there anything, hard deadlines is something that gives me chills.
Yeah.
Particularly something to the effect of, Alex, I want you to remodel my house, and I want you to put a sunken tub in every room of the house. It's going to be awesome. It's September. Oh, and by the way, for Thanksgiving in November, I'm having the entire extended family over, so that's a hard deadline. We absolutely, positively have to meet it no matter what.
I had that happen. He was a duck farmer, and he needed tubs in all the rooms for the ducks because they had like duck parties.
That's awesome.
Ziggy, have you ever been to a duck farmer's house that did that?
No.
Well, you need to
Live a little.
live a little, brother.
Sounds fabulous.
I don't operate really comfortably under hard deadlines.
Yes.
Unless I have an extra 6 months.
Particularly when they have really high emotional factor attached to them, like a holiday, or we're doing my daughter's wedding in the house and we need all this absolutely done in 2 months.
Well, it's just that we're human beings who are depending on human beings, and they're not very dependable.
Yes. And inevitably there's going to be choke points, and what subcontractor is in charge of that choke point, they're going to be on vacation. Something's going to happen. They're going to get sick. It's inevitable.
Know your limits. That's number 5 on this list. We're not moving around here. We're not moving very quick on this thing. Know your limits. DIY renos are a great way to save money, have a sense of accomplishment, and involve the entire family, but they can turn disasters if you don't know what you're doing. This is for a DIY person who is sometimes my best customer.
Come fix what I did.
Come fix what my husband started 3 years ago. I've had that one many times. If you're watching home improvement shows on any channel, I don't care what the channel is, and you decide, It was so easy. I saw it on TV. I'm going to do it. Don't do it. I'm just telling you.
It only
don't
takes
do it.
22 minutes. I saw it on home. It was great.
I had a guy call me. We're doing their house. This is right when HGTV shows were really popular. I don't remember how, it's a long time ago. And he calls me and he says, we've decided that we want granite countertops in our kitchen. We saw a show and we just really liked it. And I said, okay, And so he says, how long is it going to take? And I said, 6 weeks. No. On that show, I said, you just stop right there. You stop right there. I'll call you right back. And I turned around and I called his wife and I said, you turn the TV off. she died laughing and she called me back and she said, I just had a conversation with my husband and you can start calling me now for these things.
That would be better.
It was hilarious. But, just because it looks easy doesn't, these shows are all choreographed. And so they have 30 minutes to show you the deal or an hour or whatever. You have to understand that there's, have you had the conversation with a client where the husband looks at the plumbing bill and he goes, man, that guy, I should have been a plumber. I mean, I watched that guy. It was easy. It didn't take him any time at all, and he's charging me $160. Why am I doing what I'm doing? I should be a plumber. It was easy. And I go, why don't you try it?
That's right.
And you'll find out why he made it look easy.
Right. Follow that guy around for a couple of days and see just how easy his job
Go
is.
spend 15 years under a house in a bunch of smelly stuff and
Snakes
find out how
and everything else.
Yeah, right. So know your limitations and don't take on things that you're not qualified to do, or it costs twice as much to do it again. Pack up. If you're doing a major remodel, just move out of the house. If you're doing a whole house remodel or you're doing a 2/3 of the house remodel, just move out. I guarantee you will save money.
You'll be so much happy. The whole progress will move so much faster if homeowners are not living in the middle of it all.
Right, because we're trying to schedule around your family, and we're trying to schedule around making sure you have electricity and running water and all that. When I do a whole house remodel, and of course they move out, the first thing I do is I disconnect all the utilities. Well, I disconnect the gas and I disconnect the electric, and I'll put a temporary power pole. We'll work off the temporary power pole, unless we're going to keep some service running in the house. But I put as much of the house on temporary service as I can, because I don't want to have the potential for an accident to happen in that house with somebody leaving the gas on, or some weird thing could happen, somebody cutting through a gas line or whatever. I want to have everything temporary detached from that house when I do it. It makes the whole thing go so much quicker.
And not being able to shut things down and having to shut things down periodically. And if somebody is there in the house and all of a sudden the water turns off and you can't flush your toilets and you can't get a drink of water, or all kinds of things pop up in these instances, and it's it's not going to set your hair on fire, but it just adds again to this stress level, and it's just one little thing after one little thing, and just move out, get out of the chaos.
However, if you're going to stay,
then call Alex.
if you decide you're going to stay,
Have him
you
deal
make
with
that bad decision. Plan for outages. So what happens? Well, the power gets turned off. It's Friday afternoon, and the guy working there, maybe he doesn't know, or maybe he, for whatever something happens and he can't turn it back on. He can't leave an unsafe house. Here's what you need to do if you're going to do a big remodel on your house. you need to make sure that you have some place to go. A family, a neighbor, a family, a member, a friend, a hotel nearby. Make sure that if you have to go stay somewhere for 1 or 2 days or longer, that you've got somewhere to go.
Yes.
Also, make sure that you have a family member and a neighbor that have the alarm code, that have a house key, a spare house key, somebody that the contractor can contact if there's an emergency. I always tell people, I told somebody this the other day, the first people I meet on a new project are the fire department and the police department. Every time we'll set off an alarm. And I had a plumber, this is a great story. I had a plumber, he set the alarm off and he didn't, I don't know if he had his earbuds in, he didn't hear it.
Right.
And he walks out the front door and he has this big red pipe wrench in his hand. And there's 2 cops with their guns pointed at him. And they go, "Drop the wrench." And so every time we see him now, 20 years later, we say, "Drop the wrench."
And it never gets old.
No. And he'll never live it down. But these things happen. And so make sure that you have a backup plan for that, just to make sure things go a little bit smoother. Also, make a master list. So when you're planning for your project, I was talking about this, I think, in our last show. I recently went and visited with some people in a house that wanted to do several rooms in a house, really most of the house. And she had gone through, in every single room, she had put together a list of everything she wanted done. It was fantastic. I loved it. And I'll take that list and I'll sort of rearrange that list the way I want it. I like to do things by trade. So I'll have a list for the electrician that'll take her list and put every room in it, have the electrician, his deal, and then the plumber and the painter and whatever. I'm brilliant. You're supposed to say that's brilliant, Alex.
I'm speechless.
I can tell.
How do you think of these things?
It comes to me. It's from being around people like you.
Probably.
When I've had mad clients and they go, that way Matt did it, and I go, no, I'll help you out there with that one.
Instead of doing it the way Matt did, could you do it right?
Yeah, but then on the opposite end of that, I've had clients when I walk in and I'll go, "What is your budget, and what do you want to do?" And they'll go, "Well, we're wanting you to do that for us." And I go, "No, here's the thing. For me to get to a budget, for me to get to a scope of work, I spend hours and hours and hours of research, because I'm not going to give you a budget." They go, "Well, the last guy, he just said, it'd be about this or about that." I don't do that. Now, every now and then, if you just say, "Well, what does it cost to remodel a kitchen?" I'll go, "Well, it depends. You're going to remodel the kitchen in this existing space. You're going to increase the space, or you're going to add on to the house. I don't know.
Are you going to move plumbing from one place to another place?
Yeah. There's so many variables. And so there's a lot of research. And Matt and I spend hours and hours and hours coming up with budgets. They don't happen quickly. And so it's really, honestly, my feeling is it's just not real fair to ask anybody that. I mean, even if you take your car to get it repaired, and you can't look at the guy and go, "Well, what's it going to cost?" He can't tell you. Right. He's got to take it back and have the mechanic look at it, and the mechanic tell him what he's got to do and all that. You have to go through a process. So,
until selections are made, we have no idea of, just how expensive some of the materials are going to be. Some people have incredibly expensive tastes.
Yeah.
And some people have very, very modest tastes. But nobody on the front end says, "Oh, my tastes are incredibly expensive and it's going to cost a huge amount of money." They always say, they're kind of in the middle, it's not too high, and, that kind of thing.
Can you just do a mid-level?
Yeah.
No, I don't do mid-level. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that means.
Well, this has been fun. Thank you.
I'll
for
have
being
one more.
here.
One more item.
One
We have
more.
a quick
Go
item.
ahead.
You mentioned the police coming.
Uh-huh.
Remove all the valuables from your house.
Of course.
If you have artwork, you have heirlooms, jewelry, things like that, get it out of the way. Our guys, they're not going to steal anything or anything like that, but you don't know if there's several crews working on the house at the same time. There might be some other person that just walks on the job site.
Well, we had a period of time in the 90s, I think, and it's probably still happening, but I experienced it then. And there was a group of thieves going up and down alleys. This is when there was another time when we had tons and tons of construction going. This group of thieves, and this was in Dallas, and they were out of Fort Worth. We found out from the police. They're going down alleys, and when they see a house under construction, they just walk in it.
Yeah.
Because they knew that if it was particularly if it was a big project, we don't know one guy from another one. I don't know. And they were stealing stuff. And one of my houses got hit. And so the best course of action is like Matt said, either remove everything. Often if I have a client living there, we'll just take a closet, we'll take the doorknob off, we'll change it out to a deadbolt. We'll put the deadbolt on there. I'll hand the homeowner the key. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Hand them the key. I don't want the key. I don't want a copy of it.
Right.
And put your stuff in it, because I tell you, that's something we don't want to have to deal with. It's been really fantastic. Thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
for
in
having me
today.
again. It's awesome.
Yeah, Matt was kind of a last minute thing. We had a little change in our program at the last minute, and I could always depend on Matt. He's great. Matt's a fantastic builder. If you're going to build a SIPS house, you want a really super energy efficient house, check out James Andrews Builders in Dallas. He'll take great care of you. If you're going to do a remodel, call Alex Guthrie Construction. Now, I know Matt does remodels too, but he doesn't, Matt's a new home builder. Call me.
Call Alex. He lives for this stuff. It's awesome.
It's what I do. Alex at Remodel Rev, if you want to contact me about the show or about any work. Thank you so much. Next week, we have Denise McGahey. It's going to be fantastic. We have Richard Suarez with Panoramic Doors. Denise is a world-class designer in Dallas. I'm really so fortunate to get her on here. Thank you, Ziggy Becker with On Air Media, and thank you, On Air Media. Thank you to our sponsors. Until next week, this is Alex Guthrie signing off. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You can catch Remodel Revolution anytime. Follow the show on the website, remodelrevolutionradio.com, or on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, using the handle @Remodel Revolution Radio. You can always listen to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and TuneIn, and watch the show anytime on YouTube.